Hello, my name is Deanna, and today I'll be teaching you about Job 4. So as we get started, we're first going to go through a recap, and instead of me giving the recap, I'm going to ask the group to help out. So who can tell me what they remember about chapter 1? Go ahead, Tio Eddie.
Well, in chapter 1 of Job, we find Job, first we find the devil and God speaking, and then God allowed the devil to touch some of the property, and Job started losing his property, like all his animals, the children's dies. And then after a while, then the devil touched his body too.
That's not yet in chapter 1. The body is not in that section.
Thanks a lot, people.
But good job on the first portion. And remember that Job had a large family. He had 7 sons and 3 daughters, and he was a very dedicated follower of God. So before we get into the other part, let's go over chapter 2. So Tio Eddie already gave a hint, but Tio Ralph, what else was in the chapter?
That all his friends came over and then they didn't speak for the whole week.
Yes. And what else happened there? What did Tio Eddie start to mention before? Whoever's hand is that coming out the side of the screen?
That's Brandon.
That's
And
Brandon.
that his body also failed him.
Yes.
So
And what did Job's wife want him to do?
curse his God and die.
Yeah.
Yes. And how did Job continue to respond?
He stayed faithful. May God take everything away, but we come from the dust, and dust we will become.
Yeah.
Awesome. So yes, God took allowed Satan to take control of Job's body, with the caveat that he wasn't allowed to kill him. Job was very much in pain. He had sores from head to toe. His wife was wanting him to curse God. And as Tio Ralph mentioned, his friends sobbed in silence for 7 days, but Job continued to show integrity and follow God.
Yeah.
All right.
Wow.
So now we're going to recap chapter 3 quickly. Who can tell me something they remember about chapter 3? Go ahead.
Job was cursing his own existence.
He was cursing 2 specific things. Do you guys recall what those were?
The day he was born and he was conceived.
Yes, the day he was born and the night he was conceived. Did Job ever curse God in chapter 3?
No.
So yes, thank you, Joel, for starting that. He cursed his birthday.
May I add something to that?
Yes.
It's good to know that even though sometimes we might find ourselves in this situation, notice that he never, in all these things that he cursed his day, that he wished that he was never conceived, he never actually disrespected God. So you might find yourself in something similar, I'm saying, and be able to do this thing, because that's very human, like what he was going through. Thank you, Deanna.
Sure. All right, so now we're going to start with chapter 4. So when Job breaks his silence, what is the name of the first person that he speaks to? Go ahead, too, Ralph.
Eliphaz.
Eliphaz, yes.
Very good, Team Brett.
And Eliphaz says to Job, "Consider now who being innocent has ever perished." Why do you think he was saying that to Job?
Bill, you have to wait till everybody else gets me. Thank you.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Is Eliphaz trying to suggest that Job did something wrong? Or
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he was basically indicating that Job was guilty, because if he was innocent, then this wouldn't happen to him.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Tio Ralph.
no, because he was saying that why he was sad, because why he was so worried about what was going on when he helped other people when they were down, he lifted them up, and now he's going through a situation. He's so worried about it. So he said, "Oh, if you have God on your side, what are you worried about? You're doing something wrong."
He did also believe very much that Job was hiding something and was guilty, at least in all of the interpretations I read.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that Deanna, like us today, as
Yeah.
soon as somebody's going through something,
Yeah.
we assume he's a sinner,
Yeah.
he's doing
Yeah.
something wrong,
He
is he
wasn't in
Satan?
church praying.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely. And in fact, it was very interesting because I was talking to a lady that works on my team, and we somehow got into a conversation about, I can't think of his last name right now. Brandon, you might know Matt Walsh, that's his name. And we were talking about him, and she mentioned that the reason that she paid attention to what he said is because he was talking about the chapter Job in the Bible. And she said, do you know who Job is? Of course, my answer was yes. And then she started actually opening a discussion with me about the Bible. And what she said she was very intrigued and interested by was the fact that it said Job was such a pure man, yet he was going through such troubles and tribulation. And she just never had thought about it from that perspective, that she always thought that bad things kind of happen to bad people. From a historical perspective, she had a very tough life. And I think that was very eye-opening for her. But it gave me the opportunity to share with her David Gusick and the Enduring Word and talk to her about Job much more, which to that point, and I've worked with her for a few years now, she'd never kind of asked any questions, although she knew we went to church. Yes.
His only fault was to be a righteous and a good man before God.
And being born.
Well, not really, but that was before what he was punished, because it was a discussion between the devil and God, that if you stop doing good for people, people will curse you. Of course, at the end, God went to Job because he never curses God. He believed to the end.
Yes. So just because you're going through something bad does not mean it's because something that you did.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are a lot of children, and that was kind of the example that I used, right? Is that sometimes children have cancer and they go through lots of pain and heartache, and that's not because they've done anything wrong. Now, maybe they are cursed by their parents' sins and other things, but not necessarily from that. Go ahead, Tio Renee.
So something that maybe other people have considered, but you know, then the angels went before the presence of God, and Satan also went before the presence of God. So this test that Satan put before God, it was put there for a purpose, so that hopefully God fell and more angel goes with him. This is just my interpretation, but it was not only a test to God, it was a presentation to the other angels that if God fails, maybe you should follow me.
May I, Diana?
Sure, go ahead.
One good lesson to learn about this is, and this should be applied throughout everything in life, is that the most severe enemy still could speak and talk to each other. And people fail to realize that. The devil and God are speaking today. So it's good. So in your own life to remember that your most severe enemy, it is okay to speak to them. And not compromise, but to speak to, you know.
Yeah, they say keep your enemies closer, right?
Yes.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Is it fair what Eliphaz says to Job? And if we're going through tough times, should we be asking ourselves that?
Should we be asking ourselves what? If it's okay to,
If we're innocent, why am I being perished right now?
Yeah.
There is nobody innocent. That's right. Nobody's
Yeah.
innocent in reality.
But we just said Job was innocent.
No, he was a righteous and good man, but innocent he's not. Every man is falling from the grace of God, as chapter 3 of Romans says it, because we have our heart inclined to evil since we are born.
Only Christ was perfect.
I think it's more the debate about, which we obviously don't have the right to say so individually, right? That's up to God, but are we being judged in a way where what's happening to us is equal to the sin that we've created? And I think that's how people in the general force are looking at that. Am I bad? Am I killing tons of people? Am I harming children? And so something's really bad going to happen to me versus I ate an Oreo and said I didn't, right? And that's how people are using that metric. At least that's my personal opinion. Go ahead, Eddie.
Yeah, in my experience as a pastor, as a father, as an investor, as a coach, as a president of a nonprofit, international nonprofit, is that 90%, if no more, of the problem that we face, we cause it to ourselves. Even sometimes doing good. like I explained before.
Yeah.
This, so, but you have to be very aware of that. 90% natural causes we cannot control, but we have controls over things when we interact with other human beings. For example, if somebody's telling you that you're a thief, like somebody have told me to my face plenty of time, as a minister or minister, I thief, and I could get mad, but what I respond to them is, if that's your feeling, may God bless you. And I smile and I go, so
Yeah, I mean, we do cause a lot of harm on ourselves, right? Our health, one, right? Like a lot of people are like, oh, I can't believe that happened to you. But if you're also looking at their diet, their exercise, how they're sleeping, they're usually bringing that upon themselves from not taking care of themselves properly. Yes, Tione?
No, that this just proves what we see all the time. When everything is going well for you and you on top, everyone's behind you. You get in trouble once and they all run away from you. So the Bible is just proving that what happens on this life every day. If you're the poorest guy, they blame you with dominoes. You're poor.
And how Eliphaz mentions that something happens, it's around, you probably don't remember the verse number, so I'll say it's in the middle-ish of the chapter, that something happens to him, and that's how he knows this. Does anyone recall how Eliphaz says that he knows this?
I'll try if nobody else tries.
Go ahead.
In a dream,
Yeah, it says it's talking about a spirit gliding past his face and the hair on his body standing. Good. And who is responsible for Job's pain?
the devil.
Yes, one of the angels with error, right? The angel with error because he falls.
Satan.
What? Why are you saying no?
Not only the devil, God is, because God allows the devil to do that. So not only the devil is responsible, God is responsible because he allowed let's be honest, he allowed the pain to be inflicted to Job. The devil is guilty, but God is guilty because he allowed the pain to be.
Is Job's parents guilty? Because if he give birth to Job to exist, so then he could have pain.
Yeah, but if I have a son and you're still allowed to inflict pain, then I am guilty if I'm the father, because I allow you to inflict pain upon my son. They will not know.
If your son plays sports and he gets pain.
No, but that's the sport. But if I allow you to.
But this is a competition. But
No,
it's
it doesn't
a little
matter.
different.
Job is just a piece of toy that God and the devil, let's be honest. I'm playing a game to see who's gonna be right. Let's be honest. But God is above all, and he's the creator, and I love him. But I like to have a frank discussion sometimes. Not only they're both guilty.
So are you saying that God is responsible for all the children being molested in the world and all of the children who have cancer? He's allowing it to happen in the same essence, right?
but he could stop it.
Yeah, but right now, this was asked to God before it happened, and he asked for permission.
But God
Okay,
permits everything.
yeah.
There is
God.
free will, brother. It's free will.
There is free will.
It's free will. So as long as we are on this earth on the free will, this bad thing will happen because of evil people. Satan lead them to do these things, and they
Yeah, but
God doesn't want nothing to do except for the natural event that happened.
Come on. God allowed let's be honest, God allowed this pain to be inflicted. Someone asked permission before. So what I want is just to be frank, not to try to hide it because we're afraid that God gonna punish you.
If I may, there is a scientific that I'm watching, and he said that for human to wake up, because it's unsustainable the amount of people that we have, and there is the natural selection process is coming, and it has to happen, and many of us gonna lose our life. Now we know this, and what we keep doing, populating the earth more. So you cannot say when this happened. He said natural selection will take care of it, and we see it already, right? Fires that are uncontrollable, water risings, tsunami, and this is coming, but it's gonna be in a large scale, and many of us will perish.
But the case of Job is different, Minister. God, someone asked permission, let me inflict pain on this guy. Can I do it? And God said, yes.
No, he posed a question to God. He said, will the man be faithful if you don't give them good things? That was the main question.
Yeah.
And God said, yes. And then said, no, that's not true. Let's prove it. God didn't do anything to Job. As a matter of fact, God still blessed him. And then at the end, he blesses even more with a double portion.
But did he allow the devil to inflict pain upon Job? Yes or no? Because he asked for permission.
You can ask that question about anyone who's feeling pain or hurt, right? Like you can literally say that about anything that's going on in the world that's not without pain.
The argument that he's using is called something in philosophy. It's like the argument, can God create a rock that is so big that he cannot carry?
It's not exactly a paradox.
But I don't remember the name of it.
I know what you're talking about, but that's
The
not
question-
exactly the question he's asking.
It's I don't know, Theo, if that that's not a strongman argument. I know that there's I know what you're talking about, Theo. It doesn't come to my mind.
It's by something logic of definition or logic of paradox or something like that.
Yeah, something about the paradox. But listen, the one difference here, though, Theo, is that when people make subjective questions like that, they normally use their own logic upon it. In here, when you read the text in the book of Job, it clearly tells you that the devil and God, the devil has said, oh, you have done everything for Job. That's why he's so good and so faithful to you, right? And then God says, no, you know what? You can do whatever you want as long as you don't touch his body. So in an essence, because I have had this argument with people, and I have gone back and studied, like I think we looked at the King James Version, we looked at the Ethiopian Bible, and we looked at the new version for the Bible. And what you gotta understand is that in Theo Rene's question, there's a level of truth. Theo Rene's correct in many ways, Theo. It's written. This is not a subjective argument. This is not a subjective question that he's asking. It's an objective statement that he's making. When you actually read the text, you see that the devil and God has said, you know what? They come to an agreement. It's like, okay, the devil is going to do something that is going to inflict pain on Job. You understand what I mean? It's textually proven that this is the case.
He gave permission to Job to do. That's why he asked.
All right, so it's okay. Some of us will always agree to disagree on our choices here.
But that's the literal text.
Okay. And I would love for you guys to continue this debate if you would like after this at another time, but we're gonna go through the next two slides. And then if you guys would like to continue and remain on afterwards, you may. So, but thank you for sharing your interpretation as well, both you, Abel and Theo Rene. How do you think Job felt after this talk?
Guilty. He felt guilty because he's being accused.
We don't see your
He likely felt very sad, and I know when we were saying innocent, just to clarify, since this came up a few minutes ago as well, we're not saying that Job was without any sin.
I don't think he felt guilty. You know why? Because the truth is absolute. If you know the truth and God knows the truth, that's it. I don't think Job felt guilty.
Okay, may I, Deanna, if we go forward.
Do you think that he felt sad, perhaps, because his friend was
Very
saying
sad.
that
He felt
something
sad.
bad?
He felt sad and betrayed, but
Right.
if you know the truth and God knows the truth is absolute.
Yeah, no, I mean, I wrote here very sad. He felt very sad, in my opinion, from what I read.
It was Eddie that said
Yeah.
guilty.
Yeah.
Accused, yes. He was being accused of being a sinner.
Well, officially,
but
The other thing is, if you only feel guilty if you are guilty. You know, if you're not guilty, the truth is absolute. And no matter
All right.
what.
guilty if you're not guilty.
All
Yeah.
right, we've got 4 minutes left, and
Wait.
I've been reminded, so the takeaways from this chapter is that just because you are not doing bad does not mean you will not have pain in your life. Some folks are going to judge you by the magnitude of what they see occurring in your life and assume that it is because you've done something really badly. And God is not, I know this is a debate, but I'm just saying, in my opinion, the lesson here was that God is not the one causing the pain in your life.
Amen.
Amen.
you.
That's all.
Very good.
Very
Thank you,
good.
Deanna.